We start with a story that proclaims the power of love. It's the most powerful bond two people can share, and as one couple in St. Petersburg, Florida discovered, it's a bond so strong it might even transcend death. The personal ads. They contain thousands of stories of lonely people looking for love, and at least one story that could be a miracle. It all began in 1973 with a dream, a vision of a mysterious red-haired lady seated at a church organ.
I want you to place a personal ad, and this is what I wanted to say.
The dreamer was Chris Henry, a young woman living in St. Petersburg, Florida. Although the words of the woman in the dream made no sense, Chris was compelled to write them down. The next day, Chris's employer found the note and asked Chris about it.
She came out and she said, "What's this?" I said, "It was just a dream of this lady. She was telling me to write this ad and to put it into publish it into a paper." And I said, "Just leave it next to my bed. It's just a dream. Don't worry with it."
But Chris's boss took matters into her own hands and sent the note to the local classifieds. A few nights later, the persistent figure returned to Chris's dreams. This time, her message was even more specific.
Respond only to the typewritten letter.
The next day, Chris told her boss about the second encounter.
I said, "Guess what? I had another dream about that pretty lady with the red hair in front of the organ. She told me to only respond to the typewritten letter." And Doris started laughing because she said, "Well, I put it in publication."
2 weeks later, a large envelope arrived with over 65 responses to the personal ad. To Chris's amazement, there was only one typewritten letter. It was from Jim Kelly.
I actually wrote it out first, and then I typed it after a while. It'll look more professional, and those type columns, you're a little leery anyway. If it comes in as a typed letter, possibility you have a chance, you know, that person will talk to you, and that's what I did.
After several telephone conversations, Chris and Jim finally made a date to go dancing.
When I first saw her, you know, it was just, she was so beautiful, and I said, well, this will be a one-shot date, because, you know, I said, I'm not going to be able to compete with this.
When I saw him, he was the most romantic-looking man I'd ever seen in my life.
There was something there, it was almost like a spiritual connection, because everything just clicked. Almost like a soulmate type situation. You'd found somebody you were very attracted to.
If he would have said, "Do you want to marry me?" I'd say yes, right then and there. And that's how I felt.
Chris and Jim fell deeply in love and were married 3 years later. The newlywed couple was very aware that a miraculous sequence of events had brought them together. But there is one more incredible event in their story. While visiting Jim's mother, Chris paged through a family album when she noticed a photograph that took her breath away.
There was the woman with the red hair looking right at me, and I said, "That's her. That's the lady in my dream. She's the one that told me what to say."
Another photograph showed the same woman standing next to Jim. Chris was shocked and asked Jim who she was.
Chris had mentioned, she says, "Well, that's the lady that was in my dream." And, you know, I became real emotional about it. As I said, that's, you know, it's my wife died of cancer.
Unknown to Chris, Jim's first wife, Georgia, had lost a difficult battle with cancer, and Jim had been silently mourning her loss.
Chris's dream, when she had mentioned that she saw the woman sitting in Oregon, that was kind of a confirmation for me in my own thoughts, because Georgia used to play in church organ.
Chris felt an immediate connection to Jim's deceased wife.
The love that I had for this woman, it was an honor to be directed and led by her, and to be picked by her to be with Jim.
Both Jim and Chris were convinced that her dreams were a message of love and proof that miracles do happen.
I think this happened because Georgia basically wanted me to continue on in a relationship and not just wander in the desert like the nomads.
I guess she knew that I would be his best friend. I would take care of him and make sure that he was loved, and that's all he would ever know.
This story definitely, as a miracle itself, demonstrates that, love goes beyond the grave. It still continues.
Her influence has been there with us all these years. They had a very special marriage. And to know that I'm handpicked by Spirit, you can't get better than that.